Welcome to your Daily 5 for Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. I honestly had no intention of ever watching the Sony superhero film Madame Web, based on the fact that the trailer wasn't all that interesting. The character, I don't understand how that character was ever positioned to be in a superhero film as a main character. And when the reviews came out, I mean, they were comparing Morbius to this thing as Morbius being far better. And I didn't exactly get a lot of good buzz or feedback on Morbius from the people I know who saw it and wrote about it. So I really planned to never watch this. And I figured I'd forget about it and I wouldn't even know it existed a month from now. But Rojan from Project Archivist has kindly agreed to step in for the guest co-host duties this week. And he's seen it and wanted to talk about it. And I said, okay, I'll watch it. And I have now watched Madame Web. And it is worth talking about. So Rojan was correct to bring this as a topic, a movie to discuss. But I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. No one. Unless the only reason to watch this movie is to analyze how badly they bungled what should have been a very simple story to tell, more or less. Because we're so far into the formatting for an origin story for superheroes. Because by all accounts, this movie was a mess. They were changing it constantly. They didn't know what they wanted to do. The lead actress has said that the script that she agreed to shoot was not the movie they ended up with, which I have no trouble believing because you can sense that this movie is not cohesive as you're watching it. So clearly they started getting lost somewhere. And when that happens, then just fall back on the Marvel formula. It does work. In fact, it's not even really Marvel's formula. You can go back to the original Superman film and see the formula. Just follow movies that worked. Worst case, they'll say, yep, another movie like this, but it will function. Instead, Madame Web is really a bizarre sequence of poor decisions that don't ultimately result in a movie that even accomplishes what its trailer is promising. And by the way, Madame Web's trailer might be one of the most egregious deceptions as far as showing you something that you absolutely will not see in the movie. This is a bit of a spoiler, but I think it's a public service announcement more than anything else. There's a trailer, at least one trailer I saw, where there are the Spider Women are in their costumes, as if they're doing action things. They are not doing that in this movie. You see them early on in the costumes in a premonition, and then you get a kind of, glory shot of them at the end where they're all suited up and standing there, but they do nothing. There is no super heroics. Madame Web herself barely uses her powers, and 90% of the time when she uses them, it's not with any type of control or actual conscious decision making. She doesn't seem empowered. She seems to be blindly just doing things. And the movie is so inept and so poorly constructed that I don't even know for sure that she knew what she was doing when she finally, quote unquote, used her abilities. It's difficult for me to say. I can't really blame the actors. I don't know how you work in a movie like this. I don't know how you work on a movie in general, but when the scripting and the storytelling and the narrative keep shifting and moving around, I cannot imagine that you can stay engaged with the material. It looks fine. The direction itself is fine. There's nothing terrible about it. It's not even so bad you can laugh at it. It is just baffling because, again, they didn't even try to use the formulas that are out there and established when they clearly got in trouble and didn't know where to go with this movie. Not that I'm really convinced that the movie this was trying to be was even feasible, because Madame Web as a comic character is not one you ground this type of film around. Go look it up. Go look that character up. And you will see that this is not really what you build a franchise around. If anything, Madame Web, the character, should be a background or a secondary character, kind of a controller or a manager. Almost like Batman and Batman Beyond, where he was architecting what was happening or Batman Incorporated, as opposed to being the main hero. This thing didn't make sense from the initial gestation of the idea. The Spider Women, any of them, would have been a better story to latch this thing onto than Madame Web. So I cannot possibly recommend this to anybody to watch for entertainment. Maybe for analysis, and that's probably what we're mostly going to be talking about on Friday, is the analytical side of this. But if you're coming into Madame Web and you're expecting to have a good time with the movie, I hate to tell you, but it's a very, very long shot. Later.